So there's this phenomenon known as the paradox of inequality, which is that for people who live in more unequal societies, they're actually less likely to be concerned with the inequalities that are going on, despite all the evidence that suggests they're really quite bad. So why are they not bothered by it? Well, they're more likely to think that they live in a meritocracy and that differences in people's outcome are the result of differences in how hard they work, right? Now, I don't really know how you can go around and look at the world at this point in time and say, ah, yeah, the thing that explains differences is in how hard people work. That seems really hard to maintain at this point. But the idea of meritocracy, the illusion of meritocracy, I think is really comforting, and it helps to explain why it persists. So, for example, if you're doing really well and making a lot of money, well, it's not really surprising that you think you live in a meritocracy because you want to think that you got all this fair and square. You deserve it, right? Um, People really don't like their positions of advantage threatened. That's not terribly surprising. But what about for people who aren't so successful? Why do they maintain the idea that they live in a meritocracy? Well, I think it's that meritocracy gives hope, right? There's the possibility of moving up the ladder. If you just lock in and work hard enough, well, then you can make it too, right? And the more you start to see things, and the more you start to recognize structural unfairness, well, it's much harder to maintain that kind of hope, and you're more likely to conclude that, well, things just aren't fair. This isn't just, right? And people really like to think that they live in a just world. That just seems to be a fairly universal trait. Um, the thing is, while the illusion does give the possibility of hope, it also blocks the possibility of systemic change, right? Because for change to happen, you need people to both recognize and acknowledge the unfairness, and you're not going to do that if you're clinging to the hope that it's fair and you know you can succeed too if you work hard enough.